Shoot. Hi everyone, I'm Rebecca from DevourDinner.com. Happy Sunday everybody. I'm excited to be here. I hope you are too. As you hop on and say hello, let me know where you're from. We'll take just a few moments to make sure our technology is all situated and is working properly. And most importantly, if you can hear me. So as you hop in, say hello. Let me know if you can hear me okay, if the audio's good. We should be live both on Facebook as well as on YouTube. That's the hope. And today we're going to do 2 recipes in preparation for Easter that I'm excited about. So welcome, welcome. I am going to put over in the chat the first recipe we're going to work on, which is the mini cheesecakes made in the Instant Pot. Of course, these could also be baked in the oven as well, but today we're going to use the Instant Pot to show you how quick and easy it is to make these little mini single-serve cheesecakes for your family, friends, and whatever for your holiday celebrations. Hi, Michelle. How are you? Hi, Doreen. Welcome. Welcome, welcome. All right, so I just dropped the link. I did get the thumbs up that we are live both on Facebook and on YouTube. So wherever you're watching me from, will you give me a thumbs up, please? And if you are not subscribed and following my channels, please, please, please do so. It helps you be alerted when new content comes out or information or when I go live next or all the different things. So make sure you subscribe. Also, we have Amy on. Amy is from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group. Welcome, Amy. Amy has been a longtime friend and supporter of my channel and my live recipe demos, and so welcome. If you've hopped on over from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginners group, welcome. I'm Rebecca from DevourDinner.com, where I focus on easy to make recipes for busy families using common ingredients. I love the Instant Pot, the air fryer, the stove top, the oven, you name it. I love it. Most importantly, I love to create recipes that are full of flavor, that are easy to make with pantry ingredients. Ingredients that you have around the house. Times are hard. It's hard to go to the grocery store and spend more money, right? I know I hear a lot of amens and hallelujahs in the background. I'm sure of it. Amy says, hi everyone. Kathy's from Florida. Welcome. Oh, thank you, Kathy. Kathy says the audio is good. Hi, Sally. How are you? Sally, are you new? No, I think you've been on a long time ago, but I haven't seen you recently. I'm not sure which. Clarify for me. Hello, Trava. Welcome. Hi, Susan. Susan's from Kansas. Susan, are you new? Welcome. We love new faces around here. Okay, today we're going to work on 2 recipes. The first recipe we're going to work on is the Instant Pot mini cheesecake. I have dropped the link in the comments. If you're watching this on the recap, you'll also find the recipes linked up above in the description. Whether you're on YouTube or on Facebook, you can always find them there as well. So if you're on your computer, open up a separate tab, follow along as I'm making these recipes, take your notes. Most importantly, we're live, so I can answer questions in real time to help you at home make these recipes too. That's the fun part, right? Susan says not new. Okay, Susan, well, welcome. Glad to have you here. Okay, first thing we're doing is the mini cheesecakes. Now, my overhead camera, it's not connecting, you guys. I spent so long trying to figure it out. We've got to try something else. Hopefully next week, fingers crossed, we can get it up and going. But in the meantime, I've got a bowl with graham cracker crumbs in the bowl. Now, you can put the graham crackers in a Ziploc bag and use a meat pounder and crush them out, or put them in a food processor and get them down to fine crumbs, whatever works. I'm going to put in the graham cracker crumbs 2 teaspoons of sugar, and I'm just going to stir that. Now I want to stir the sugar in before I add the butter. The reason is, if I add the butter first and the sugar is all in one glob, then the sugar is going to clump together and it makes it really hard to disperse that. So I just want to take a moment and kind of stir it. Then I'm also going to add 2 tablespoons of melted butter. You can melt it in the microwave, wherever you want. And then we're just going to mix it up. Now, I am using 5 graham cracker rectangles, is what I'm using today. I don't like to get my graham crackers too moist. I like them where I can get them to stick together or press down, but not so heavy. I don't know how else to describe it. If you have a better way of describing it, you guys put it in the chat. Sometimes I find if you put too much butter in your graham cracker crust, it's just like heavy and gooey. Where I like my crust a little more, I like it thick, but I like it so it bursts in my mouth. Okay, question for you. Normally when I make this, I use the little 4 ounce, I think, the little mason jars. But guess what? My mason jars are all packed. So we can use the little half cup dishes, or we can use the full 1 cup. I'm leaning towards the full 1 cup. Do you guys have a preference? I kind of want to try out the bigger cup, see how it does. We're going to wait just a moment because I know there's a lag delay, and I want to make sure everybody hears that wants to hear. So you guys comment on if we should use the little ones or the big ones. And while we're waiting, I'm going to start on the filling. So for the filling, we're going to use 8 ounces of softened cream cheese. So make sure you get your cream cheese out of the refrigerator an hour or 2 beforehand so it can just be nice and creamy and soft. We're going to mix with that 2 tablespoons of sour cream. And I don't want to use that. We're also going to mix with it some sugar as well. So I just got a little bit of sugar we're going to add to it. Now this mixture concoction, I want to mix until smooth before we add our egg into the mix. So I'm just going to get my little hand mixer. Got it charging back here. My little Black & Decker. Haven't pulled this one out in a while. So if you haven't seen this, this is a cordless kitchen appliance. It's from Black & Decker. I love it. It has different attachments. This one is the beater attachment. So I can take everything in my bowl, right, which is cream cheese, sugar, and sour cream, and we can blend it up until smooth. Once it is smooth, it is all combined. It's going to look kind of hard to see. The contrast isn't great, but we're going to add our egg at this point. Now the egg, it is helpful if it's room temperature again. So just pull it out of your refrigerator. When you're pulling out your cream cheese, it can come to room temperature pretty easily. And then we're going to blend all of this up. I'll scrape down the sides of the bowl here in just a moment. Actually, let's add some vanilla while we're at it, so we don't have to go back and forth. We're just going to add a little smidge of vanilla, about a half teaspoon of vanilla. I'm going to add a little pinch of salt. And today, now on this recipe, usually I use candy bars from Easter. So I'll use like candies like the Kit Kats or the Reese's Peanut Butter Cups or the Cadbury eggs, but today I want to do a lemon cheesecake. So I am also going to add some lemon zest to the mix because who doesn't love a lemon cheesecake, right? If you had lemon extract, you could also use that in place of the vanilla extract. I am just zesting about half of this lemon. Keep in mind, remember when you're zesting any citrus, you just want to take off the top layer. You don't want to get down into the white underneath. So really zesting goes super quick. Okay, we're going to put that in. Okay, now I'm gonna mix all of that together and get it nice and creamy and smooth. We have the egg, the vanilla, the lemon zest with our cream cheese mixture, sour cream, and sugar. There we go. Let me just scrape these sides down. I think I can incorporate them all in. Oh, it smells so good. You can't really tell. But there it is. It's just the creamy white mixture. Now, Amy says go for the bigger one. Kathy says use the larger one. Hey Ted, how are you? Ted is a friend from home. I love it. Thanks for coming on. Okay, we're going to use the bigger ones because that's fun, right? I want to see how the bigger ones cook. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to spray these with some cooking spray. Let me grab it. Just do it a little spritz in the bottom. Not a whole lot, but just a little. And then we're going to add some of this graham cracker crust. So I'm going to add probably 2 heaping soup spoon amounts as the crust. That one needs a little more. Okay, and then I'm just going to pat it down. Probably the easiest way is if you were to get a glass. Use the bottom of the glass because it has more surface area than a spoon, and you can pat down your base really nicely and easily. We're going to use this glass for a couple of things today. There we go. All right, I don't know if you can see this. See how it's all packed down? Love it. Okay, remember we have our cream cheese mixture. Now, because I'm doing it lemon, I also have some lemon curd. So I'm going to put in a little bit of the cheesecake mixture with a little bit of the lemon curd, and then I'm going to top it with a little bit more of the cheesecake mixture. So we're just doing 1 scoop of each of these. That one is a little tiny. We're going to take our spoon, we're just going to kind of level it out. There we go. And then I have got lemon curd. Now this lemon curd is from Trader Joe's. You can get lemon curd at Walmart, your other grocery stores that you go to, or you can make lemon curd, and I do have a recipe to make lemon curd, but I don't have that link handy. Hint, hint. Bill's going to look for it. He's going to add it to the chat. So all I'm going to do is I'm going to take, it's probably a tablespoon amount. I don't want a ton, but I do want some. There we go, right in the middle. And I want to show you, looks like an egg. Can you see it? The yolk. Kind of fun, right? Okay, then what I'm going to do, we're going to get this off my finger, is I'm going to take another scoop of cheesecake mixture and I'm going to put it right on top. You guys, this is just going to barely make 3. Okay, we got to scrape this bowl. That's what I was hoping for, that this would only do like 3 little guys. 3 little mini cheesecakes. Use my little scraper to get it all out. And all I'm doing is just sealing the cheesecake so the lemon curd is inside. That's it. Perfect. All right. What do we got here? Here's our little cheesecakes. Now we're going to cover these with foil. The reason we cover them with foil is because inside of the pressure cooker we have lots of liquid and we don't want any more liquid added to our cheesecake. So we're just going to cover them up. I just have a little piece of foil. Now, I did test this before to make sure that these would fit because I worried. Let's put it that way. Put a trivet inside. Add 1 cup of water if you're using a 6-quart. If you're using an 8-quart, do at least 1.5 cups. Now, if you're using bigger cups, make sure you figure out how you have to put these in. Of course, it will go, 3. Like, there's not too many ways you put 3 in. But because of the handles, you do have to tuck one of them inside of the handle. There's your tip. Got to get that one in first. And then the other 2 will just fit right in. You can sit them down in. There we go. Now they will sit flat, so make sure you get that. Once we have that done, make sure your ring on the inside is seated properly. We're going to close the lid, we're going to close the pressure valve in back, and we're going to set it. Now, this recipe cooks for 3 minutes. That's using the smaller little mini cups. So I'm going to add 2 minutes, which might be 1 minute too many, but I'm going to do it. It'll take just a moment and it's going to beep at us. You guys remember what the beep means? There it is. The beep just means that the Instant Pot has accepted the readings and it's going to start the process. So in this case, it is going to start heating the bottom element. As that bottom element heats up, it's going to heat the water up. When the water gets heated up, it'll come to a boil. And as it comes to a boil, it creates steam, and steam creates pressure, and pressure will make that pin in the back of the lid pop up. That's what will seal off your pressure cooker, whether it's an Instant Pot or any other brand. Once that has popped up, it'll take another minute before the front reading panel will change, and it will change to whatever you set it to. In this case, I have it at 5 minutes. It's going to count down in numbers. So 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, 0. Then it's going to beep at us, letting us know that the cooking process has completed and that it is now in a natural pressure release state. So the pressure will just gradually start coming down little by little by little by little. We're going to allow for a 10-minute natural pressure release before opening up the pressure valve and releasing the rest of the pressure, and then we'll pull out those cheesecakes. Sound good? Okay, that's it. That's how easy it is to make cheesecake at home on your own. It is so, so simple. The great thing about this, This can be done a day or two in advance. So if you're planning for a social gathering, whatever day of the week it is, and you're busy and have a lot going on, you can make this a day or two in advance and then store them covered in your refrigerator until you're ready to serve. When you're ready to serve, you can top them with whipping cream, additional candies, or slice of lemon, whatever you want. You can even add a little bit of the graham cracker crust and sprinkle it on top. It's lovely. Super, super simple. Somebody's asking for top down. I know. It is not working, you guys. You remember 2 weeks ago, not last week, the week before, and I had some really big technical difficulties? Well, it was an update. And when updates happen, it's fascinating because you have to think of it as the program that I used to go live updated. But then it takes other companies time to update their things to make it work. So I'm using cameras that I'm hooking up. Well, the updates for the cameras don't sync into the updates for the platform that I'm using, which is likely what the problem is. Usually that gets resolved in a couple of weeks. But we're going to try something different for next week. Fingers crossed it works. By the way, I will be live next week. I think next week we will probably be doing air fryer ham. You know, I also have Instant Pot ham. I've shown that to you many, many, many years before. And so we're going to do something different in the Instant Pot. Not sure what yet. But we're going to do something different in the Instant Pot and probably air fryer ham to prepare for your Easter holiday celebrations. Okay, let me clear the area here. We got a lot to do now. We are going to make something that I just love to make. It's charcuterie boards. Now, when I had my boys at home, I loved making big charcuterie boards. It's because they're boys and they eat a lot. But now it's Bill and I. And we don't even have any neighbors that know us to come over and eat this with us. So I want to show you how I do a littler charcuterie board. If you guys remember, about a month ago I sent out an email questionnaire asking you, what can I help you with? And one of the things so many of you said is, I'm cooking for a smaller group. I don't want dinner for 6. I don't really want dinner for 4. I want dinner for 2, maybe 3 people. So we're going to work on a little charcuterie board for 2 or 3 people. Now, I have just taken this board. Honestly, what I could also show you is you can do it on something as simple as a dinner plate. You can do it on a quarter cookie sheet. So, I don't know if you can see this. See this little cookie sheet? Like, you could do a charcuterie in this. It does not have to be fancy. It's fun when it's fancy, but it doesn't have to be fancy. But making a charcuterie means you have to have lots of ingredients. So, as you're watching me prepare this, I want you to think in your mind or go into your kitchen pantry and start rummaging around. What do you have to add to a charcuterie board? Because you want things like cheeses, meats, fruits, vegetables, nuts, candies, spreads, dips, you name it. Well, when you start getting all those different things, you realize you don't need very much of anything. You only need little bits, which is why I say go to your cupboard. Because you don't have to go to the store and buy 3 different kinds of crackers and 3 different kinds of cheese. Because you likely have everything you need already at home. And to prove my point, that's what I did on this one. I went around and I pulled out what we have. So things like sweet tarts, bunnies and chicks. I have these darling little gummy eggs. I got crackers. These are my favorite, by the way. If you find these at Costco, I adore these. Adore these. I don't know what to say. I just eat way too many. You remember last week how we made the peanut clusters? Gonna add those on there. I have simple things like the little mother circus animals, which are the ducks and bunnies. M&Ms, holiday M&Ms. Cadbury, oops. Cadbury. Have you guys seen the Royal Dark? The milk chocolate has been around forever. I've never seen the Royal Dark. I must be like hidden on a faraway planet. They're my new favorite. These are good. Robin's eggs, jelly beans. We've got little lemon Kit Kats. So I've got lots of sweet going on. I've got crackers. Let me grab the cheeses. I've got some salami I picked up, some sliced cheese. I'm using some Swiss. And I have these cute, fresh mozzarella ball snackers. Okay, think of the little mozzarella ball pearls that are like teeny tiny. These are a little bigger, but I want to show you how cute these are. They come in these little packages, and there's just like 3 or 4 of them in each package, which is perfect to add to a charcuterie board, right? Okay, then you just start laying it out. Little piles, and it all starts to come together. And sadly, it would be very helpful if we had the overhead so you could watch me do this. I want to show you how I do a salami rose, because that's fun. There's lots of ways to put your salami. You can just lay it, like you could just lay it like this on your platter, and it's just all kind of stared out. Or you can take your salami, fold it in half so you have the corner, and then place them all bunched up together from the corner, because you get these cute little like ruffles. And that's a lot of fun. So I will just fold up a couple of those really fast. The thing about that is when you do them, if you don't have other foods around them, they tend to unravel fairly quickly. But it makes for your guests to be able to just pull one and they get one little slice. Super, super easy. But to make a rose, get yourself a glass. Okay, this is not a very big drinking glass, just a drinking glass. Take your salami, put it about halfway in your glass, and fold it over. Take your next piece of salami, and about a third of the way over, so divide your salami into thirds, put your next one, and fold it over. And you're going to go around the cup with salami, just folding and layering. Now, if you're doing a bigger charcuterie board, you can end up putting like 2, maybe 3 of these roses on. This one will only have room for 1 because they do take up quite a bit of space. You're going to go around it like twice. Okay, that helps to hold everything in place. On your second time around, you could do it, you know, halfway and not a third of the way if you like. We've got one more in there. See that? You just fold it straight down. Now, here's the cool part. You're just going to take this. I'm going to put it right in the middle since I'm only doing 1. You're going to set it down on your board. I want you to see this. Okay? I just have a little piece of parchment paper right on the middle. And then you're just going to lift up. And you have this beautiful salami rosette. Okay? So simple. We're going to add some sliced cheese. This is some Swiss. You can layer it like triangles, right? Or what I like to do sometimes is I'll put it on one edge and then I'll put the other on another edge and lay it down. That way it's easier for people to grab one slice at a time. we're gonna just do 2 of these. So I do tend to make things more uniform and keep a balance on the board. And then we're going to add some crackers. Now these little cheese crackers are just super fun. I'm just gonna add 2 little piles. I'm gonna add some garlic naan crackers as well. The main thing with the charcuterie is you want different textures, different sizes, and that's what pulls it together. Okay, the last thing I always add is the candy. But guess what? We've got apple slices, we've got strawberries. Look at these beautiful strawberries. Right? So we're just gonna put them in different places. I leave the stems on because you can. I'm gonna line up some apple pieces. Just in different spots. So I just got 3 different spots of apples. And I'm putting 2 or 3 apples together, and that's it. It doesn't need a lot. We have some carrots. Carrots add great color. So often these days, I find people in general don't always want sweets, right? As we get older, our sweet tooth changes. We want a little sweet, but we don't need a ton of sweets. And I find that I am that way too. So whenever I make a charcuterie for myself, I have both sweet and savory. It's just how I roll, I guess. We're gonna open up these little mozzarella balls. We're gonna try to open up. My hands are slippery. There we go. Gonna push these out. Cute. There's 3 little ones. 3 little mozzarella balls. I'm just gonna break them up because I always want things where I can grab and only touch one thing, right? You don't want to like touch everything. Even if it's just 2, even if it's just for 2 people. Now I also have an orange. This happens to be a blood orange, which if you can get a hold of a blood orange, do it. Blood oranges are, oh, this one is not very blood orange-like. I haven't tasted these yet. You can kind of see. You get that dark, dark color. But I tend to find that it just makes a really pretty presentation. And we all love a little bit of extra fruit, right? So far, I've added just over half of an orange. I've added 9 carrot sticks, 9, 4 strawberries, 7 apples, the salami, rosette, Swiss cheese. We've got some mozzarella cheese on there. We're gonna start adding our sweets. So I'm gonna put the little peanut clusters that we made last week. This is where it would have been smart if I had made small little bite-sized ones. I'm gonna put 2 of those on. We're gonna put some little sweet tarts, which are bunnies and chips. And all I'm gonna do now is fill in. So this is gonna be really hard to see, but I hope. You guys see that? All I'm gonna do is fill in the gaps with the small candy. You work from big to small, all right? So when you take the candies and you just tuck 4 or 5 of them in the little holes so that you can't see the bottom, it's fun. I've got some Hawaiian macadamia nuts that are rolled in a white chocolate. They're pink in color, but they add a fun little touch of color. Now once I get these candies on, I'm not going to be able to lift up the board anymore because the candies tend to just roll around. We gotta have Cadbury eggs. These are in bold colors, so they're blue and they're burgundy and they're purple, which are just cute and fun. So make sure when you're tucking them around that you're putting different colors together, that you don't put all the same color in all the same spot. Is there any guesses what Bill and I are enjoying for dinner tonight? There we go. Put another one right over there. Now, if you want, remember I still have some of this salami that I made kind of in the little ruffles. You can tuck those into these little edges to help keep some of the candies from rolling away and just fill in those spots. That's it. That is how easy it is to make a charcuterie. Now, this one is a little bigger, so this one would easily feed 4 people. Easily. But again, what I want to show you is you have a lot of these things in your cupboards. You have crackers, you've got cheese, you maybe have some meats. Maybe you don't have salami, but you have some lunch meats that you can cut up. There's so many things. Look in your fridge for blueberries, strawberries, blackberries, raspberries, apple slices. Keep it simple. If you keep it simple, it doesn't get overwhelming and you can throw it together. Now, you ladies that you're listening, true story. I make myself a charcuterie board for lunch quite often because it makes me feel fancy and it makes lunch not boring. And I have a little bit of crackers and a little bit of cheese and a little bit of meat and a little bit of nuts and a little bit of something sweet. And as I'm working, I just snack on it and I love it. That's my tip. See how simple that is? All right, we're gonna clear some of this stuff up. And we gotta make room for, how long has this been? We gotta make room for this. Because it is almost done. And I'm gonna look at your questions here because I've ignored you guys. We got a mess. A real mess today. Doreen says, looks fabulous. Love it. I adore that it's large. Salami rosette in the middle. Love it. Hi, Peggy. How are you? It's okay that you lost track of time. You're here now. Michelle says, why do you have all those candies? Well, part of the reason why I have all those candies is because I like it. Part of the reason is I also bake and cook for a living, and so I have them. And so instead I have found that if I just have them, then I can have one. It's that simple. What else? Did we get everybody's? So fun. So fun. Okay. Let me move this out of the way. And we're going to check. It's almost time to open up our pressure cooker. We're going to open that up, let the steam shoot to the ceiling. Remember, move it away from your cabinets, low hanging lights. And then you're going to want, these are little silicone like hot pads to pull them out because it's going to be hot. You're not going to want to touch it. The other thing that you're going to want handy is a paper towel. Sometimes there's extra water condensation that kind of gets in places, and if we use a little paper towel to just dab it, it'll lift up any of that water that may have gotten on top. So get a paper towel handy because that's important too. Such fun. I've made a mess today, you guys. I should do dishes while we're waiting. What do you think? Peggy says grown-up Lunchables. It's totally grown-up Lunchables. And I'm not ashamed. I love it. It makes me happy. It really does. And why not? Because lunch can get boring, especially if you're eating the same old thing every day. You've got to do something to just kind of change it up. It's kind of a big deal. My hands have got way too much on it. So we are going to rinse it off. There we go. We're almost there. 1 minute. I'm excited. Now, we won't be able to dive into these because they need chilled. It's probably the hardest part. They should chill in your fridge, preferably 4 hours, preferably overnight before you dive into them, preferably. So that's why I say these cheesecakes can easily be done 2 days in advance. I'm going to drop the Easter Charcuterie Board again, and then I'm also going to drop the Mini Cheesecakes again and get those both in the system, in the chat. And if you haven't, please give this video a thumbs up. We like that. All right, we're going to open this up. At this point, I don't know if you can hear it from home, but the pressure has come down considerably. So normally when there's a huge stream of pressure that shoots up, it's very, very minimal, and this pin is going to drop very quickly. In fact, it's almost ready to drop. There we go. It was that quick, that fast. Take that off. We'll pull this out. Remember, this little notch in your lid, it has one on both sides, will fit into your handle. And if you put it there, then all the condensation from inside of your lid goes running down into the little storage container in the back of your pressure cooker if you have one, which is super handy. All right, now we get to do the balancing act. See if we can get these out without dropping one. That was a really awkward way to do it. But I had this little guy on the edge that just seemed like he was not very stable hanging out there. So, I pull this off. Oh, oh. You guys, I want my top down. There's only a teeny little bit. I don't even know if there's even a teeny. No. Nothing got in. This one may be a smidgen. Yeah, all I'm doing is barely tapping just to pull that off. And it looks like it's all done. Oh yeah. Oh, I'm so excited. All right, I can't tip this sideways because it's still where it's hot. Oh, so it's not going to matter. As it cools, remember, it's still a little jiggly, so it's got to cool and it's got to set. I'm telling you, it's going to be so delicious. I can smell the lemon. It smells amazing, and I can't wait. Make cheesecakes to celebrate your Easter season, however you choose to celebrate. I hope you'll make a charcuterie board. I hope you'll make these recipes. If you do, take pictures, tag me. I love to see the photos. In fact, today I had a viewer reach out to me out of the blue. This viewer has not said boo or messaged in years. Reached out and said, "You saved my dinner today." They were making French dip in the crock pot today, and they got everything in the crock pot and forgot to turn the crock pot on. And of course, if you're going to make French dip in the crock pot, it takes hours. She noticed it later and was heart sick, knowing that dinner was ruined because it wouldn't be done in time. And she thought, wait, Rebecca has a French dip recipe for the Instant Pot. So she went and looked it up, saw what to do, took all of her ingredients, threw it in her pressure cooker, and pressure cooked her French dip so that they could have dinner on time, no problems. And so she sent me the cute message of how I saved their dinner today. It put a huge smile on my face. I love when I hear these successes, that you get to have these family moments at home and share with your families. I love it. Love it. Remember, all of these recipes can be made multiple ways. A lot of times in the recipes that I post online, I try to put additional ways, whether it's the Instant Pot or the air fryer or the stovetop or the oven, however you can do it. Because sometimes we only have one pressure cooker and we're cooking two different things, or we only have one air fryer, and we need to know different ways to make the same recipes. And that's what I try to do to help you at home, making your life easier. All right, everybody, I'm excited. Oh, you can't see my charcuterie board. If I pull it back here, look, now you can see it. It's beautiful. I can't wait to get a little cracker and a little cheese and dive in. So fun. Again, thank you to Amy from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginner group. We sure appreciate your love and support. If you've hopped on over from the Instant Pot 101 for Beginner and this is your first time, welcome. We're glad to have you here. This is a great place to ask your questions. I will be live again next Sunday, same time, 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, with some more Easter recipes to help you at home. We will not be live on Easter Sunday. I'm taking the day off. Shock, surprise, you guys know that. Because I want to spend time with family and I want you to as well. So that's what I've got. Have a wonderful week. Be safe wherever you are. Be kind, not only to yourself, but others. There's a lot of craziness going on, a lot of stress, pressure points. Just remember to be kind. I'm so grateful you're here. Have a fantastic rest of your Sunday, the rest of your weekend, and your week. Bye now.